Hello out to all you wonderful people. This is Andre the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear, listening into another Gamer's Thoughts discussion. And I mean, people probably were expecting me to get on this one, but it's the $25 horse armor in Diablo 4. I can't say I'm surprised. That's the sad part. Because as it were, and as things are going, gaming budgets are skyrocketing. The budgets for making these games have horribly jumped because everybody wants the best technology that they can get, forgetting that means more expense, more cost, and it's one of the major problems gaming has right now. For everybody that gets mad at Nintendo for not pushing to the bleeding edge of technology that they can, they're doing it the smart way. And I've said this before. You don't have to have near the best or try to be near the best for technology for gaming to be good. You don't. It's a waste of money otherwise. And they have proven it. They've proven it over and over that shooting for that higher cost is a waste of money. And I don't know what people are not understanding about this. For the fan bases, the more you guys push for, I need better graphics, I need this, I need that, I need this resolution. For what reason? I don't see how looking at a 1080 screen, the 1080p screen is going to mess with your eyesight. I don't see how potentially looking at a 1440p screen is going to mess with your eyesight. But you want to and must have 4K. You have to have 4K, right? Even though both the Series S and X and the PS5 have either a performance mode or a resolution mode. So I mean, listen, like, you're probably playing the 1080p game anyway. No point in arguing against that fact. Same goes for PC. You don't need the top of the line to make everything play well. I mean, yeah, over time, obviously, some bits of technology are going to get phased out because it's been a while. But there are computers from roughly, actually about 2010 right now that can still play games that are current market. They're like, and even then, like, that's only for like the higher quality games, like higher AAA quality games, or that would be AAA quality if we weren't considering budgets. Some of those games require higher end machines to play them, but you could still I mean, even right now you could still play Street Fighter 6 on a machine from 2015, depending on how good your setup was. So it's one of those things where I'm looking at, is it really worth it to be pushing all these costs? To be trying to push this stuff to be the tippity top and then have a set retail price for every game, because stuff like this is going to happen. And I know somebody's like, damn, Andre, you took a long ass time to get back to yes, the $25 horse armor. And I know there's going to be some people that spend that money. I would not have been one of them. I mean, I don't even have Diablo myself, but I would not have been one of those people who's like, oh yeah, I'll toss out $25 for some horse armor. Wouldn't happen. But this is the result of those higher budgets. And the higher budgets are coming from the needless use of this higher end technology. if gaming companies did more of what Nintendo does, take stuff that has been on the market for a while, that has been proven for a little while, and then just maybe customize it a little bit, they'd be stabilized. They'd stabilize far better. Right now, the next generation of consoles, honestly, I'm thinking Nintendo's the only one that's going to make any money off the console itself. And hey, maybe they may be in a Wii U situation where they make some money off of the console and a game purchase. I mean, honestly, how many people are going to get a console without getting some games? I mean, it's different if you're getting something as a gift for someone, but like just in general, how many people are going to go ahead and get a console and not purchase one game with it? That doesn't make any sense, right? So I'm just saying, if gaming wants to go forward and be sustainable, they need to start working on scaling down some, or at least staying at the level they currently are and mastering that level. That didn't happen with 7th generation. And that definitely didn't happen with 8th. And it's not happening now. And I know someone will make the argument, well, they can do almost all this stuff right off the bat. That's not the same thing. Having more options available to you is great if the technology allows it. But it's not the same as mastering the level you're at. Take, for example, games on the Sega Genesis, early games from 1989 up until I think the last game was in like 96. The first game from the Sega Genesis to the very last game on the Sega Genesis, stark contrast. And the same thing could be said for the Sony PlayStation. Same thing could be said for the N64. Same thing can... I mean, I don't even think you can really say that for the GameCube era and the PS2 and Xbox. I mean, yeah, you see improvement, but you don't see a drastic change like you did with earlier on consoles, where the publishers and developers found different ways and coding techniques to enhance their games. Things that they could add in or take away, different tricks that they could use to improve performance. I've mentioned it before. I have to find that channel and link it when I go on the YouTube, where the guy who is working on what a late in life N64 Super Mario 64 could have been like. You see, like, if you compare what he's doing to what Mario 64 was, you see a huge contrast in how the games run and how everything worked. That's not what we're getting currently. We're getting, oh, throw more power at it, throw more power at it, throw more power at it. And if the console can't run it, well, too bad. I mean, Microsoft found a way to kind of circumvent this with using the cloud. Only problem is that's not super reliable for everyone. So yeah, if you're on an Xbox One, you can play the Series S and X games and stuff like that, and you can play them at the lower resolution on your Xbox One or on a higher resolution on your Xbox One X. But there's the potential chance that if that cloud isn't working right, you're not going to be able to play that game. Or if your internet connection is faulty, you're going to struggle playing that game. Now, I will attest to xCloud being very good because I've used it several times. But there's always the chance that it might not work for you. And we can't count out people that live in rural areas that don't have that great of an internet connection. I'm not going to say they don't deserve to be able to play video games. So I'm honestly feeling that there's going to need to be a scaling back of things. Now, who listens to that? Probably no one. but it's what needs to happen in order to make gaming more sustainable. That's why we've lost all of our middleware developers, the guys that filled in those spaces between the indie scene and the very large production games. And I said large production because I didn't necessarily mean AAA. And even still, we even lost the A and AA quality games. And that's what it meant. It meant quality, not budget size. I don't know why people got hooked on this idea that AAA always meant budget. No, it meant quality. At least when I was growing up, it meant quality. We knew what a AAA game was, just like we knew what a AA game was. We knew what an A grade game was, the B and a C, and even some of the D's and F's. We knew what those games were for the time period. We understood the level of quality of the game that we were playing. So for me, looking at this situation, I'm like, I understand why they have to do it. I don't think it's a good look, but I'm understanding why they have to do it, especially with this whole purchase thing with Microsoft being in limbo. I get that they need to supplement having to work at a certain price for their game. And people are probably sitting there complaining and fussing and all that, but you asked for this situation, whether you realize it or not. You asked them to push the technology as far as they could, and asked them to throw more and more power at it, and then the publishers asked them to throw more and more power at it, and then the board members asked them to throw more and more power at it. If nobody stops and says, hold on, let's not like overblow these budgets, because that's another problem. That's why we have games with so much bloat. That's why we can have teams of 200 to 300 people working on one game and the game still come out a broken mess. There's too much money being thrown into the wrong things for making these games. And that's not even including their advertising budgets. So many games that made so many promises that had to renege on those promises and drop them. Halo Infinite dropped the local multiplayer. Even though you can force the function in the game, there's a workaround to it, but they dropped implementing it. Gotham Knights dropped its multiplayer, or the way it's supposed to have worked. There's too much being thrown into these games that doesn't make the games worthwhile to play. And I can tell you, part of it is because of the overexpenditure into the graphics of the game, into the look of the game. We want pretty games, I'm not gonna lie, but I will take an ugly game that plays great versus a pretty game that plays like garbage. If you have to degrade your game down to PS1 graphics for it to play well and it's a fun, enjoyable experience, I would prefer that. Personally. I don't care about the higher resolutions. I don't care about seeing the sweat drip off the side of the character's face that I'm not going to be looking at for 80% of the game. That doesn't appeal to me. What appeals to me is stuff like what Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom have done, where the whole environment of the game is, it feels like it's living because everything's moving, even without you there. That's the type of stuff I'm into. The game's difficulty adapts to how you play. I like that type of stuff. If you're going to throw money into anything, those are the things I think would be more important. At this point, we've hit a wall of graphics. Stop throwing money into graphics. Throw the money into different coding techniques that can help you reduce the size of these games, making them smaller, but still allowing them to run efficiently and still achieving the majority of the goals that you have set forward for them. How about paying money for people to actually test these games before they go to market? There are game testing firms out there not every company is spending the money to put into those game testing firms. I know I'm a game tester. Can't talk about which ones I've tested, but I'm a game tester, so I know. How about putting more money into having, you know, the people on your teams clean up the code and remove assets from the game that don't need to be in there? Like, you know, the test stuff. I mean, some things are fine to leave in there as little Easter eggs, but some stuff isn't even left in there on purpose. It's accidentally left in there, and even the developers themselves don't even realize the stuff is in there. Divide up your resources properly and utilize them in the proper manner, and all of this stuff about games being too expensive starts to die down. Then you can put in that retail price and manage it. That's what Nintendo does. Whether people understand that or not, they make their budgets around what they're going to charge for the game, or they charge for the game what they budget around what they budgeted. I'm pretty sure it's the other way. It is that way. So that's all I'm going to say on it. I'm not going to drag it out too much more. But thank you guys very much for listening in. Keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games. And let me know if you agree or disagree. Peace out, everybody.